today.
So before gloves start popping,
Diving, he makes the catch!
and bats start cracking,
It is gone!
we bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Laurie
That's what we do. We talk ball.
on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, great to be with you this morning as we get ready for Cactus League action. The Giants at home in Scottsdale take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or wherever they're called these days. And it is Giants baseball today as spring training moves on. This is Game 10. The Giants are 4-3-2 down here in the Cactus League. And frankly, we're going to talk about a lot about their pitching today. Their starting pitching has been just outstanding. And we saw some real good efforts from the ball club. In fact, yesterday they did lose to the Dodgers 6-5, but Carson Seymour really looked good yesterday. He's a right-hander, and he's sort of that second wave of pitchers that the Giants have. I mean, we've got the Birdsongs and the Harrisons of the world and Tristan Beck and Jelly. Then you get McDonald and Seymour. And then you get Wisenhunt and Ragsdale and people like that. And Carson Seymour yesterday threw 2 great innings at the Dodgers. And I heard on the Dodger broadcast that they said that Seymour eats 3 pounds of ground beef a day. Raph, how about that? So I thought that was interesting yesterday. But he really pitched well. And for the Giants all week long, Landon Roop pitched really well earlier in the week. He's pitched extremely well down here. Hicks looked good in his outing. Verlander yesterday, we'll talk about him later on in the show. We'll talk to about Verlander, who pitched over at Papago yesterday. And Harrison gave a couple of good innings. Jelly has pitched well all week long. And look, I know it's Arizona, and I know the pitchers are ahead of the hitters. And our first guest, JT Snow, we'll talk with him about that. But it's encouraging to see the starting pitching. Now, the bullpen is a little bit of a different story. Hasn't stood out as much. But for me, the starting pitching has really been outstanding. Logan Webb has been terrific. And today it's Robbie Ray going against the Angels. And, he brought it 93, 94, and a little bit of a cutter, an off-speed pitch in the game that I saw him pitch the other day. I think it was against the A's on Tuesday. So Robbie Ray has pitched well. So my point is this. This team is built on starting pitching. I'm telling you, the starting pitching can pitch, and they have a lot of bullpen arms here, and that's the first stage of getting a good team, and that is pitching. Defense is a second stage, and then you got to hit, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a lot today. But Encarnacion, Gerard Encarnacion, and I want to talk to JT about him playing first. But, boy, he hit one yesterday, 415, dead center field in Glendale. I don't know, it was like 113 off the bat or something tremendous off the bat. So he hit well, and Jung Hoo Lee, I love him. There's just something about this guy, the way he plays. There's a little bit of recklessness to him, but he got a sort of a misplayed double, then he got another hit. But he put the ball in the air when he had to get a runner in from third with less than 2 out, and that was McRae who got on and stole second and went to third on an out. And the Giants manufactured a run, so that was impressive yesterday as well. So, all right, we've got a good show for you today. JT Snow is going to be our first guest. He's the best fielding first baseman I've ever seen, and he spent a lot of time with Bryce Eldridge. But the main thing is he's a coach, and he really understands playing first base. And 6 Gold Gloves in his past, and a nice career with the Angels, of course, with the Yankees very briefly, and then a long career with the Giants, and ended up with Boston, and then back to the Giants to end it up. But I'm looking forward to talking to JT about Eldridge and playing first base, and you get a real idea of what a coach does here in spring training. Okay, more coming up right after this on the Sports Leader.
Talking Baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Hey, it's Marty, and I'm here to tell you that it's time to discover the islands, and of course that means River Islands. They're celebrating 10 years of bringing the good life to Bay Area homebuyers. What's more, Del Webb, one of America's best-known builders for active adults in the 55 and over crowd, has just opened 3 neighborhoods at River Islands. They're building a huge community center on its own lake, all for buyers looking for a great lifestyle and a little less maintenance. I like that. Homes are priced from the 600,000s. Start your tour online at riverislands.com. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? It sure is for me.
Been home for 2 days. I already missed it. Missed being around the guys, missed being around the coaches, missed talking baseball, missed watching. Right? Get this extra set of eyes and ears. Just watch, listen to guys. A lot of the work is done in the batting cage this morning. You're just down there. I had great talk with some of the left-handed hitters, Mike Yastrzemski and Patrick Bailey and Coach Eldridge.
Gene Bagato checked in from the Tides up in Bodega Bay, and he said while the crab season hasn't produced great quantities, the crabs that have been delivered have been excellent. Down at the wharf, fresh crab is readily available for guests to enjoy, either in the restaurant or in the fish market to take home, along with all of the other varieties of seafood delicacies. And across the highway up at the inn, large, comfortable rooms are readily available at winter rates for those who want to get away but don't want to deal with 8 hours driving up to Tahoe. So if you're looking to get away for the day or a weekend, remember the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in beautiful Bodega Bay.
Now the pitch on the way, swung on, a drive into deep center field. Going way back there is Dean. Still going back, and it's gone! So an impressive home run by Encarnacion, and the Giants ahead 5-4.
Giants fans, there's no better way to set the game day table than talking baseball with Marty Lurie. Marty keeps rolling on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, nice to have you back with us as John described that home run from Encarnacion yesterday, and believe me, it was a shot to deep center field. JT Snow joins us, and I've said it many times, he's the best fielding first baseman I have ever seen, and I love talking ball with him. JT, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Marty. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, we're glad to have you on. And you were down here working with the Giants as a coach in spring training. How did that all come about for you?
Well, when Buster Posey got the job, and I know Buster, I've been doing some work with the Giants back in 10, 12, 14, and I actually was throwing BP to the number one group during those World Series years, the right-handed hitters, Buster, Pat Burrell, and Hunter Pence, and those guys. And so when he got the job, I reached out to him and told him congratulations, and he was so great. He texted me right back and said, do you want to come down to spring? And I asked him to let me know if I can help in any way. And he said, "You want to come down to spring and help out a little bit?" And I said, "I would love to." So the timing was right with Bryce Eldridge, and so but Buster was a big part of it, and he's doing a great job. As you've been down to Marty, seeing some of the alumni guys come back, and I was down there with Santiago Casilla and Jeff Leonard, and just being around the guys and talking ball, and they're bouncing stuff off you. So that's how it started, and I owe it to Buster and Bob Melvin's been great with all of us, arms open and just telling us to jump in. So it was a great week. I've been home for 2 days and I already miss it. I already miss talking with the guys and being in the cage in the morning and doing extra work. So hopefully there'll be more to come.
Oh, absolutely. We love talking ball with you down here. Let's talk about Eldridge. He is the project, and you and Matty Williams and Woe have been working with him. But I was impressed in talking with you with all the different nuances of playing first base. Now, when I was a kid, I played first base, and, hey, the throw was coming over. I'd try to reach for it, and that was about what I learned about first base. But it is a real position to learn. And let's talk about how you approach Eldridge, the young man. He's 20 years old. He was a pitcher and a DH, really never played first base before. But take us through you as a coach and what you have to work with him on. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, and I think anytime you go, is you want to be a good listener, and you want to build a relationship, and you want them to come to you, and that you want them to have trust. I've had coaches that kind of come at you and pour it on too thick, and it's almost a little intimidating. So I wanted to build a relationship and a rapport with him, and just be pretty easygoing at the first, and it really worked because he opened up to me a lot, and we just talked about some of the things playing first base. And what people have to realize is he was a pitcher and a DH in high school, and then when he got drafted by the Giants in the first round, they're going to make it. The pitching is done. He's too valuable of a bat not to have in the lineup every day, but first base is new to him, and we started working, and I liked it because everyone knows he's a big guy, 6'7". He's got to work a little harder than, say, someone like myself who's 6'1", harder in the fact of getting down with the ball, bending your legs, getting your butt down, getting your hands out front. And but he's a great listener. He's very engaging. He's a great kid. I told him when I was his age, I was a sophomore in college playing at the University of Arizona, and now he's in big league camp. So we just went step by step, and Matt Williams and Woe were great. We were out there every morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and just picked one thing a day to do. And we started with the footwork around the bag, and like you said, a lot of people think just first base, the throw comes, you stretch. We got him to not stretch so early. Get his feet on the corners of the bag. You get your shoulders and your chest pointed to where the throw's coming, if it's coming from third, short, or second. And then you wait to see where the ball goes, and then you shift your feet, and then you stretch. He's got a big advantage because he can steal maybe a half a step or a full step on a runner because he's 6'7", and we're trying to get him out there to receive the ball. So, yeah, just a lot of things. And then, bunt plays and relays and cutoffs and pickoffs, all those things. And he's a clean slate, right? It's not like he's a former catcher or outfielder now playing first base. He doesn't have any bad habits. So our goal was to just build all these good habits with him and then ultimately get in the game and just trust yourself and play. So super fun. He was pretty good. I heard a lot of stuff going down there, but I was impressed, and I was surprised. He just needs to play. He just needs to get in games and play. The bat's there. The bat plays. It's just about getting some confidence on the defensive side and playing first base. And I told him, I said, you can really help your infielders out by being good over here. There's a lot of guys that are average. You can be good. You can be great. And I told him I got a lot of free dinners off my infielders for making some picks in the dirt and saving some errors. So I was impressed. He's a great kid.
Well, I always said watching you play first base, it was like watching a shortstop play first base, and you did something. I mean this sincerely. Every game you made some spectacular play. They said, wow. And that's what you bring to the table, so I'm glad you're working with him. He's a big guy. And something you mentioned, I know when we were talking, that he has to get the glove down on the ground because he's got to get ready because there's a long way to go and you're 6'7".
Yeah, that's right. And, we worked I tried to work a lot with him mentally about, I said, hey, listen, every pitch that's thrown, you have to expect that ball is going to be hit to you. And that's some of the things that I did in my career that gets you ready to field a ground ball. Every throw from an infielder is going to be a bad throw, so you're already ready for it. It might be high, it might be in the dirt, and then when they throw you a perfect one, it's easy, there's nothing to it. So we're trying to shape the mental side. And little things like we were talking, and he was tracking the ball from the pitcher's hand as he threw it to the catcher's glove. And I said, no, you got to watch the pitcher out of the corner of your eye or out of your peripheral. And then when he releases it, right before he releases the ball, your eyes shift to the hitting zone, and you really zone in on the catcher's glove or the catcher setting up, and you're looking at the hitter from, the shins to the letters, and that's where the ball is going to come out. So I had to kind of redirect him in that to quit following the ball, because he's following the ball from the pitcher to the catcher, and then you're going to be too late. So that stuff, and just, get your glove down in the dirt. Expect the ball off the bat to be a smash every time, and then if it's not, then you play. We worked a lot on ground balls and picking up the hop, and like I told him, there's basically three kinds of ground balls. There's the old worm burner, which is like the ground ball on the ground. There's a short hop one, and then there's a high chop. Those are pretty much the only three type of ground balls, and you got to read the ball off the bat, and you always want to feel the ball at the top of the hop, if that makes sense, at the top of the arc, and just getting your feet. I mean, he's got size 15 feet, so we got to move his feet at first. I told him all good infielders have good feet. That's what makes you have good hands, because you're never out of position. We got his feet moving. He was a little clunky at first with his feet, and then I said, all good fielders, you can't really hear their feet as they're moving, and Matt Williams was big on that because the corner positions are pretty similar, third and first. So we got him down. We got his feet spread a little bit, and now he's getting light on his feet. And, now it's just about taking into the game and just trusting yourself, which is hard to do when you're not getting a lot of playing time, because he's not getting the field a lot down there, but it'll come. And the one thing is people just have to be patient with him. I think that's the biggest thing is he's 20 years old. Be patient, let him figure it out. He's going to have some growing pains. He might have some positives and some negatives, but just let him figure it out.
Well, the other thing that I learned from you is catching the ball at first base, smoothly catching it, where the ball stays in the glove and doesn't move around. That's not that simple.
Right. And so one of the things that I told him, I said, at first he was, especially on ground balls, he was trying to catch the ball. I said, we're infielders. I said, try and think about fielding the ball. There's a big difference between fielding the ball and catching the ball. I said, the catcher catches the ball. When we're at first, the throw comes across the diamond, we catch the ball. But when there's a ground ball, we field it. And I like to tell guys, we don't need to, you hear the old Little League coaches saying, charge the ball, charge the ball. I said, you don't need to charge the ball. Charge the ball means like being like a bull and charging the ball. I said, just move into the ball and field it. And it just kind of relaxes you if you have those key words. And then when you get to the bag and the throw comes across, I said, like I said earlier, you expect a bad throw. Every throw you expect a bad throw, and then you catch it. So, the outfielders catch a fly ball. They catch a line drive. We field the ball. The infielders field it. And then the other thing is I told them when Matt Chapman and Adames and some of these guys are taking ground balls, I said, just watch them. Watch their feet. Watch their hands, because I could sit and watch Matt Chapman take ground balls all day because he's so good. And just stuff like that. So in the games, I said, watch his pre-pitch preparation, how he gets his glove down, and then he's ready to go on every pitch. So it's fun. I love it. There's a lot that goes into playing first base that you can kind of help people if you give them the right words or the right phrases.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think anyone played it any better than you, so I'm glad to hear the nuances of playing first base and how much he's got to work on just being 20 years old and being a pitcher and a DH and not playing first base at the major league level. My goodness, there's a lot to go there. One thing I noticed in the news the other day about the Red Sox, they have these young phenoms as hitters, and they're being told, hit the ball in the air, hit it hard, but they have these special pitching machines that can throw just about anything. And I start to think about working with an infielder. You don't have that kind of luxury where you could take a machine out and and simulate some of these things? You have to do it by hand and actually teach.
Yeah, if you feel ground balls off a machine, it's kind of the same hop every time. It's kind of consistent. But what one drill we did that I did through my career, which is great, was Ron Wotus would soft toss Matt Williams, and Matt Williams would hit the ball with a fungo. So the ball comes off the bat. Matt Williams is standing at home plate, and Wotus is off to the side, flipping him. And then Matt can hit it hard, soft. He can chop it, hit a line drive. And that's a really good drill because that's the closest you can get to simulating a ground ball in a game is the coach doing that. And then the other thing that I did with Bryce is during batting practice, I said, let's go stand at first base as you're playing, on the dirt, and just watch the balls come off the bat to the certain hitters. Watch the right-handers, watch their body. You can learn a lot by the way a hitter attacks the ball. If you're watching the zone, if they come up and out of it, it might be a fly ball or line drive our way. If a left-hander goes down hard with his legs, it might be a ground ball our way. And so we just started watching balls off the bat, and all you need to do is just start reacting to it with a step, maybe a step to the right or a step to the left, and that goes a long ways. You don't have to field them, but just watch the hitters, and during batting practice, that puts you in a good situation. And we also did it with live pitching. A lot of the pitchers were throwing live to some of the hitters on the backfield, and we would just stand at first base in our defensive spot and just watch the ball come off the bat, and then you start getting it, and then you start seeing the bat path, the way the catcher reacts to the ball, where he's going to catch it, and the way the guy hits it. So, there's some things you can do, but it's hard if you're not in there every day playing in the game.
Boy, a clinic. I'm playing first base with JT Snow. JT, what about Encarnacion? Look, he had a big home run yesterday. For me, the bat plays in there. It really does, and I'd like to see him get a chance. Is he limited to DH, or can he play first base?
He can play a little first. He actually he's a great guy. I called him, no pun intended, but I called him a gentle giant because he's really soft-spoken guy, and he's very appreciative. His path, they signed him out of the Mexican League last year. His path has been different than others, so he's very appreciative of the chance he's getting. He's been in left field a little bit as DH, but he can really hit, and I think a lot of the coaches asked me towards my last day, who's opened your eyes? Who have you liked? The first guy I said was Jung-Hoo Lee. I thought he's a really good baseball player. He does a lot of things right from his at-bats, and then he's sneaky, right? He'll jump on one. He's kind of old school. He'll lay in wait, and it'll ambush you and get a couple home runs, a double. It plays a great center field. Encarnacion was the other one. I was like, this guy, if you make a mistake to him up in the zone, he can really hurt you. I love the way Mato swings the bat. He just needs to play. He's old school. He hits the ball really, really hard on the line, on the ground. He's not trying to lift. And I think that old school, launch angle fly balls, that's kind of going by the wayside. I noticed that in spring training with Pat Burrell back there. They're doing a lot of situations because as a hitter, you get into the box, and a lot of times there's a situation out there, and you got to come through, right? Ground ball to the right side or infield in, you got to hit a fly ball. So Pat's doing that daily with these guys, and it's paying off. So Matos, if he can get in there on a regular basis, and he's getting older and he's learning and he's calming down, but he can really move the ball off the bat. So, those three guys really stood out to me with the way they play and the way they hit.
Boy, beautiful. JT, great to have you on. Love it. And look forward to having you on a lot this season. You know the game cold, and my next question, we'll take it up our next time, but how come you played first base? But we'll let the fans wait for that one. But it's great to have you on. This was a clinic on playing first base, so thanks so much, and have a good Sunday.
All right. Thanks, Marty. Love it. And, anytime. Let's talk again. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I want to hear why JT Snow became a first baseman. All right. More coming up. Bruce Jenkins next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, it's great to have Rick Robin back with us. Rick Robin Construction, Napa.com. Rick, it's great to have you with us. Last year, a major honor for you. You're the Napa Contractor of the Year. How about that?
Yeah, so it wasn't any advertising or anything. The customers voted, and I finished number one.
I love it. Napa Valley Contractor of the Year. Rick, the things you specialize in, it's things that people need, and you take it from beginning to end. Let's go through the list.
We specialize in kitchens and baths. That's our main source. We do whole home remodels, brand new homes. We do ADUs. We do all your construction needs. Anything you need, just give us a call.
And the phone number is 707-332-7575. And, of course, on the web, it's Rick Robin, ROBBEN, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, great to have you back with us. I look forward to a great season with you.
So it's going to be great. Give us a call and talk to Tammy. If you like our quote, we'll take you down to our showroom. We'll pick out all your material and look forward to work with everybody.
Fans, the things I love about Rick, he does all the work. That's for me.
Everyone likes a party, but everyone loves a party at Original Joe's. With 3 private dining rooms, it's the perfect spot to hold your next big event. From christenings to corporate gatherings, we'll make your next party San Francisco special. Original Joe's, see you at the counter.
Look through the window of the Original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see 2 guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Laurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us as we get ready for baseball today. It's the Angels and the Giants at Scottsdale Stadium. A beautiful day in the Valley of the Sun. We bring in Bruce Jenkins. Bruce, how are you?
Good, Marty. How are you?
Doing well. I know you got to see the Dodgers and Giants play yesterday, and I said it in my open today. Bruce said they've got a ton of starting pitching, and I don't mean the Dodgers. I mean the Giants, and they're kind of doing it in spring training so far.
Yeah, it's really, really encouraging. You know, good stuff from Hicks and Roop, and Robbie Ray looks terrific. And, you know, Harrison, who to me, you don't even think, I mean, he's got to be one of your starters. But, you know, he's got Roop and Birdsong pushing him, and which is very healthy. So I think it's great. I mean, all of the Dodgers pitchers could break down, you know, except for Snell, right? I mean,
Really?
the Giants are really solid here. And if a couple guys do go down or not too impressive, there's other guys to plug in. I'll tell you, you know, for me, I would love to see Hicks start out in the bullpen, you know, given that they've got, you know, 5 guys to handle rotation, which it looks like they does. I mean, at some point, you know, he wore down last year. I was looking back when he was 21. This is 2018 now. with the Cardinals. He had an at-bat against a guy where he went 104, 105, 104, 105, 103 miles an hour. And that was 2018. I mean, at some point, this arm is not going to be doing that. I know he's been very encouraging this spring. He doesn't want to go to the bullpen. I get that, totally get that. But I don't know. You can imagine him out there doing a lot of great work.
Yeah, the bullpen's interesting. I mean, you have Walker there.
Oh, absolutely,
Then you've got Duvall in the 8th inning. Then you've got Rogers, who I saw set some sort of record for being in the most winning games in a season. I don't know if you saw that the other day. Then you got this Randy Rodriguez and Jelly and all these people. I'm not sure where you'd put Hicks. But what I saw from Hicks the other day against the Cubs, 97, 99. I mean, Bruce, it was just he just brought it. But I said to myself, well, where's the off-speed stuff? You know, where are you really a pitcher?
Yeah.
And he's not at that stage yet, which means go to the bullpen and just air it out for 17, 18, 20 pitches, and that's your job. So it may happen. It may happen, but the arm is there. Last year, I thought he was the best pitcher I saw in Arizona, and seeing him this week, there was that arm again. You got Robbie Ray today. He threw 93, 94, his first start. And then you bring Hicks in at 99. So I don't know. It was something to see. But to me, that's a strength that I've seen so far. Encarnacion yesterday, Bruce hit a long home run. I'm not sure what you do with him. Just a DH, but as JT just said, you make a mistake to him, and he can hurt you. So I think he's on the team.
I'd love to see it. I mean, when he connects, boy, you remember it. He's loud. He's very loud. And that ball was hit through a crosswind yesterday, and it went way, way out of the park. I definitely see him as, a DH candidate for sure. I mean, you've got Flores as a candidate there, too. And then all these other guys, Matos, you think about what's going to do with him. You'd rather have him in the outfield. But Encarnacion is a strict DH type. There's not a big mystery about where he should be. He's not going to help you on defense. So I don't know. As long as he's hitting, I'd love to see him on the team. I agree with you.
Yeah, that was a legitimate home run. And at first base, it's he's a little rough at first base, but you don't need him there.
No.
Because, look, Flores did hit a home run this week, and he's in better shape. And the other one is to talk about that I've watched is Lamont Wade. Bruce, this is a contract year for him. And you know how ball players get motivated in contract years. He will be a free agent. And I know he walked 3 times the other day, and he got a couple of hits yesterday, or the day before yesterday. I like Wade's potential this year. I think we're going to see more out of Wade than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, he's really playing for his future.
Yeah.
That's what. And it was interesting to read that he's changed his stance. He's getting lower. He's getting more strength out of his legs, which he had problems with last year. So much of it is in your legs, and if they're not right, like was the case last year, it doesn't help you. So he's got a little more strength. He's squatting down lower. His strike zone shrinks, and maybe he won't have a batting average. He'll just walk every time.
Hey, he's like 2 for 9, and his on-base percentage is .490 or something.
Yeah.
But it is a contract year, and I don't care what you say. Ball players somehow magically get more motivated in a contract year, and it does work out. So I think it's worth pointing out for him. Roop, boy, I'll tell you something. I know it's down here, and I know pitchers are ahead of the hitters, but he's throwing strikes, and he's throwing something other than the curveball and the fastball. Roop, and maybe I'll put him as my most impressive giant in camp this year.
Yeah, I don't know what's not to like about him. Even if he's a two-pitch guy primarily, the curve is so good, and it's so hard to hit. He made a huge impression right away last spring. Like one look at the guy, and they're hearing the pop in the glove and going, "Who's this guy?" But he's a little bit more known now, but he's still just as hard to hit. And there's another guy I'd just really like to see him on the team. I like new faces. I like not last year. I like this year. fresh starts for guys, and all manner of new looks. But he's not new, but his stuff is so good. Maybe he'd be that guy that you bring in after your starter only goes 5 innings, which is all too common these days, and starts lighting up people out of the bullpen.
Yeah, Carson Seymour looked pretty good. He was solid. He's another car. They've got the monopoly on the Carsons, but he's one of them. And there's that second level of starting pitchers. Beyond Mason Black and Beck and people like that. These other guys are there, and this guy looked terrific yesterday. Yeah,
he really did. I wouldn't say the same for Trevor McDonald. I know they blacked him for a lot of years, but a lot of walks, a lot of hard-hit balls. That was a rough outing for him. He's losing ground. I don't think he's probably in the picture even, but yeah, I really had never really heard of Carson Seymour. Hadn't read much about him, but you see him out there, being a big guy and getting people out. So until that changes, you got to think about him.
Yeah, Keaton Wynn pitches today. Rogers and Duvall, Jelly pitches today. Lou Trevino pitches today, and the lefty Romero today. So there's a lot of pitching on this team, and that's the first step you need to be a winning team, and they actually have it. If you listen to the Dodger broadcast yesterday, which we all had to if we wanted to watch the game, they said that Carson Seymour eats 3 pounds of meat a day. Did you hear that?
I missed that actually. I must have been making a meat sandwich or something, but
really,
yes. I didn't hear that. I did enjoy. Rick Mundy had a lot of interesting things to say during the game, but I missed a bit about Carson Seymour's eating habits. But what the heck? Baseball guys are funny. Nothing tells you anything. Nothing tells you. Well, forget him. Or, there's a guy you got to watch. Nothing tells you anything about eating habits, right?
Well, Jonathan Broxton ate skunk, I think. I think he told me that.
5 times a day, yeah.
In Georgia, I think. So you never know. Yeah, it's Hunter Strickland with the elk hunting and all that. You learn a lot of things. A little news, actually, with all the craziness going on in Washington. Trump said he's going to pardon Pete Rose. Did you see that?
Hey, Donald, he's dead. He's so dead. Nice timing. I felt so bad for Rose. To his dying day, he wasn't getting the recognition he deserved. I mean, what's this pardon going to do? He's not going to get in the Hall of Fame. He just isn't. And, baseball might take him off the restricted list. He's not going to get in. That'll never happen. So, Trump's trying to sound like a nice guy here, which would be refreshing, but it's a little late.
Yeah, I guess baseball can reinstate him. I guess, look, this could be one of those backroom deals, when these political, like we see these political deals that Trump does this and Manfred's going to do this and and then all of a sudden the Hall of Fame says, well, if he's not on the restricted list, he's now eligible. I'm not so sure he won't get in. Well, we'll see on that one.
Well, I'd love to see him get in. I voted for him as much as I could. And when he was no longer on the ballot, I wrote his name in. And they had to tell me to stop doing that.
All right. Well, the other news, first of all, we haven't talked about John Shea going to the Standard.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you and I didn't have time last week to talk about it. Let's touch on that. And John had a long career at the Chronicle with you, many years, and now he's with the Standard. How about that?
Yeah, that really surprised all of us. I mean, the Standard is making a lot of noise locally. It's an online thing. Tim Kawakami, who's one of the best, has been there for a while. There's money there. There's smart people on the staff. As Shea says, he's never been around so many smart people in the higher ups who let you do what you want and trust your work. And he's a lot more comfortable in that regard. And he's making more money, and he's got more freedom. So the more you hear about it, it just sounds like a tremendous gig. He's mostly Giants, but he'll get up to Sacramento. He can go on the road if he wants and go see the Dodgers or whatever. So it's just terrific. I mean, John Shea, one of the great guys, really. I've known him for years, and he's an amazingly consistent guy. His temperament, his work is always good. And, he really rose to the heights the last couple of years with the Mays book and all this just stellar reporting he did on, the hotter issues, the stadium stuff and the A's stuff. And and he's getting better with age, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, good for him. And I looked at the staff, and they must have 30 writers, covering everything possible. And when it came to sports, it's Tim Kawakami and John. I think that's about it.
Yeah, John is also the hockey writer, and he'll do a little curling before it's over.
It's gonna be interesting. I will tell you that. A couple of thank God I wish you were down here to watch these games with me. But
yeah,
Luke Casey, I thought there's something there. He did give up an inherited run yesterday. He got one guy out when he came in with the bases loaded. I thought he looked okay. VR is probably going to end up on another team. He got a base hit yesterday. But, Bruce, the guy, I tell you, Jung-Hoo Lee, first of all, he has so much fun.
Yeah.
And people just mess around with him, and he's laughing.
Yeah.
And, he's a little reckless, but he impacts the game. And I like when I watch his at bats. I like to see him in the field. I like to see him on base. He's a deep. There's something there to watch.
Oh, he's absolutely delightful. I mean, that was his reputation overseas. He's an exciting player. A little bit of flair. I mean, yesterday he hits 2 shots.
Yeah.
Two very hard hit balls. I didn't understand the clock violation strikeout. They didn't really explain that well enough.
No, I didn't see it.
No, but that whatever. But that probably won't ever happen again to him. But he's he's a really caring individual. He can't wait to show his stuff because it was just it was like a meteor last year. He's just starting to like him, and he's gone. So I hope he's not too reckless in the outfield to where he has another collision or some sort of thing out there. But he's terrific. And I think it's interesting how they're thinking about him hitting third. And with Wade leading off, the only thing I don't like about that is that Wade, I don't think you mess with the leadoff position. I think you want one guy in there for like 160 games. That's your leadoff guy, just period. You don't platoon there, which they might possibly do with Wade and Flores or whoever else. But I really like Lee leading off, but I don't mind him hitting third either. He's loud. He's going to do it for you.
Yeah, something happens. He's a little, as you say and I say, a little reckless in center field. It's not exactly Willie Mays gliding under a ball.
No,
you know what I mean. There's a lot of stuff going on for him. When he catches the ball. Mm-hmm. But it's been a lot of fun to watch him. It really has been a lot of fun to watch him. So, all right, well, we'll talk more next. Oh, one other thing I want to mention to you, and this is we love the history thing. You didn't have to research this one, but going back to 1874 was the day they adopted the batter's box. And Woe and I will talk about this. I guess before that, you could run all over the place and hit the ball.
Yeah, that's kind of a crucial add to the rule book. You try to picture it, without the batter's box. I mean, could you stand like 5 feet closer just to intimidate the pitcher?
Again, why not?
Or 5 feet back, get a better look at it.
That's why we love baseball.
Absolutely.
Oh, great stories. All right, we'll talk with you next week. Thanks, Bruce.
Great. Thanks, Marty.
All right, that is Bruce Jenkins. All right, more coming up. The Professor, Ron Wotus, is next right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hello again, Marty Lurie here to talk about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. Right now and good through March 17th, you can save hundreds of dollars on my favorite line of furniture, Stressless. I own Stressless furniture, and I can tell you it's the most comfortable place to sit in my home. Visit them at GeorgieBrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. And remember, tell them that Marty sent you. Fans, I'm coming up to the Bay Area to see some Giants baseball. It also means I'm going to see Sonny from A&H Transportation. A&H Transportation, the East Bay's finest, serving the Bay Area since 2007. If you need to be picked up at the airport, it's 24/7. Taken to the airport, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. Whether it's wine tours, concerts, game events, medical appointments, Sonny and A&H Transportation will take care of you just as family would. Give them a call. 925-200-2824. You can check them out on the web, ah4limo.com. Email them, ah4limo at ah4limo.net. Sonny, I'll see you soon.
Time now to go to Sunday school with the professor.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you?
Giants coach Ron Wotus with Marty Laurie.
I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
On your home of Giants baseball.
Good answer. I like the way you think.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Brought to you by River Islands, one of the country's top-selling master plan communities just across the Altamont in Lathrop. Where else can you live on a lake next door to a park or walking distance to your kid's new school? With 10 new neighborhoods, River Islands is the one place you can't afford to miss.
All right, great to have everyone back with us. As you know, on that open, that means the professor is here on this Sunday morning, and that is Ron Wotus. Well, how are you?
Doing great, Marty. Arizona's going real well. The weather's been fantastic down here, and looking forward to chatting.
Well, you're over at the minor league camp today. What brings you over there? Because I know you go back and forth from the major league camp to the minor league camp.
Yeah, I've spent about 9 straight days at Major League Camp, and have the mini camp going on over here. A lot of prospects have been here since the Major League Camp has opened. And why they do that is we have a small Major League Camp this year, so they get, you don't have as many bodies. And when guys need days off like they do early, they don't play every day. A lot of players from this camp go over there. So there's a lot of prospects here that aren't in Major League Camp, and I wanted to get a good look at them before the full camp shows up. The position players show up on the 8th, and then you'll have the whole minor league organization here. So there's a chance to give these guys some good instruction and watch some more of the prospects.
Well, you also got to see Justin Verlander yesterday. Giants didn't want to pitch him against the Dodgers over at Camelback, so he pitched at Papago, the minor league complex. What was that like?
Well, first off, I think it's a good decision. A lot of teams have always done that to us. They didn't pitch their starters against us. They kept them, from us. And, the less the hitters see them, the better idea they have about them. So I think it's good that sometimes these guys come over and pitch in the minor leagues. Now, he was in it was a inter-squad game. He pitched 3 innings. He looked like he had good velocity and good command as always. He faced his own hitter, Adames, about 4 times. He came over to get some at-bats, and that's what we typically do when you want to, one of the regulars who has a day off and he wants more at-bats, you can send them over here to face usually the, minor league pitching. But Verlander was throwing, so Adames got to face him. And one thing I noticed is Verlander didn't want to throw any balls inside to Willie Adames. He didn't want to take a chance at hitting them. So Willie got a couple hits, and it was probably a little easier for him in that regard.
Well, Verlander, look, he's 42 years old. Maybe he'll win 300, and he needs another, 32, 38 games, something like that to get to 300. I think he's at 260-something. But, he goes through a spring training. Well, this is the veteran coming into spring training. What does he throw? Does he throw hard? Is he working? What does it look like he's doing?
Well, to me, when I see him doing his stuff, I mean, he's all business. I see him in the gym there, doing his stretching and his routine to get ready to play. And, I mean, he's got it down, right, after all these years and how successful he's been. And then on the field, he's, pretty serious, business-like attitude, especially when he grabs the ball. I know yesterday he got upset with himself on a couple pitches in a scrimmage here. He threw a couple balls up that he wanted down, and he's yelling at himself. So that's what these guys bring, and they make the players around them better. So our pitchers can learn a lot from him. Everybody will. And when you start getting enough guys that go about it, like that and have that experience and have done what he has done, it rubs off on everybody, and it shows people how you're supposed to approach the game.
Well, I love seeing him pitch. I got to see him pitch the other day, and he owns the mound, I'll tell you that. So this is going to be fun. And, well, I'm told that if he stays in this spot in the rotation, he would do the home opener. How about that for an honor?
Well, good for him. It's exciting. I'm sure the fans want to see him. I mean, it's Justin Verlander, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's excited to have him, and I know the press corps was here at the minor league game yesterday watching him. Got a chance to talk to him after. Obviously, they came over here to follow him. So it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big sign for the Giants, and it's great to have a player of his caliber that the Bay Area and the fans know, and probably excited to see.
Well, we saw a kid yesterday. I got to watch the game against the Dodgers, is Christian Koss, Koss. And, whoa, I really don't know anything about him. I know he came over from the Red Sox. He was in Sacramento last year. He made a couple of highlight plays. I don't know if you got to see some of them, but he was in the hole and threw guys out, threw Freddie Freeman out, and really I thought played pretty well. Christian Koss, who is he?
He's a guy that is going to press you with the glove, that's for sure. I mean, I saw him a lot in Sacramento, and he can definitely pick it. I mean, he's a real solid and can be above average at shortstop with his instincts. I mean, you see the skills that he has, the arm, his fielding ability, but he's very instinctive on the field. I seen him do a couple things in Sacramento. I said, wow, this guy's on top of it. His game awareness on the field and his communication. Really like what he does. So, the thing is, if he swings the bat well, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see him in San Francisco. He swung the bat pretty good, but, the glove is there. That's one thing he's always had, and he's impressive to watch defensively.
Boy, it is spring training, and you never know what we're going to see down here. And Bryce Eldridge, well, last Sunday, he hit the heck out of the ball, home runs and all that kind of stuff. And this week he's slowed down a little bit. He's striking out all the time. I know you work with him a lot defensively. How is this kid doing mentally going through this kind of week?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's been great. We've had him out every day. We talked about myself, Matt Williams, and when JT was here, we've all been with him. He's been working extremely hard in his defense. He wants to get better. He's really got great, aptitude and retention. He's putting the stuff into play in practice. He's come a long way. Of course, he's not getting a lot of game action because Beaumel's got other guys he's got to take a look at and give them an opportunity to make the team. But mentally, it can be tough. It can be tough when, you're striking out a little bit. He's not used to that. But like I told him in his last game when he struck it, I said, hey, look, you're getting one bat a game. You're coming in the, sixth inning. Or you're DHing, which isn't easy for a young guy. And, you have a few strikeouts. It's the toughest thing to do. You're not getting any consistent game reps, and now you're facing major league pitching for the first time. So I said, don't get down on yourself. I said, you know what? It's the hardest job to do in baseball. So I just want to make sure he knows that. And, he's got the mentality. He's not fazed by it at all, but we all know it creeps in a little bit that you get frustrated. You're not giving a better showing. But he will. He will when he gets regular at-bats.
Well, it's great to see him at the field. That's what I like, And, it's one of these things. It's part of spring training where you see the phenom or you see someone get hot. You say, boy, can they carry it over to the major leagues. And for a kid like this, you just want to see him have a decent camp where he's learning. And I think that at least he's getting that done defensively. And he's getting the experience of facing major league pitching. So good. All right, I'm glad for that. Hey, well, talking about River Islands, a lot going on over there education-wise. They built 3 K through 8 grade schools, all which score above the state average. And how about this one? Listen to this. River Islands High School opens up in August of 2025, and, well, they're called the Riptides. How about that one?
It's fantastic how this community keeps growing. And just a couple of years ago, they only had 1 K through 8 school. Now they have 3. In the high school, that's a big deal. I mean, River Islands has been around for a while. The Riptides, what's their mascot going to be over there, Mark? Do you have any idea what they're going to do? How are they going to do a Riptide? What do you think?
Well, I think it would be, they'd probably have to have someone dressed up sort of as a wave. Like an ocean wave. I guess chase people around, something like that. But who knows? But it's nice to see it. It's nice to see a high school, and, of course, they're going to have all the sports and things like that. So it's another thing happening at River Islands. Well, something that got me yesterday in watching the game, this ABS system, the automated ball strike system, I think it's working great. Nothing crazy. And it's like tennis, you tap your head and, the umpire says, hey, we got a challenge, and within seconds it's up on the board. I love it.
Yeah, I think the fans are going to like that aspect of it. When the pitch is challenged, it goes up on the big board, and they show the strike zone, and they show the location of the pitch, and they say ball or strike. I mean, that visual is going to be great. So I think they're going to enjoy it. It holds the umpire accountable to a certain degree, right? I mean, if they're not bearing down, or, it's not like the old days when you're facing the Braves and Maddox was throwing the ball 3 feet outside and Eric Gray goes, strike, And you looked at him like, are you out of your mind? They can't do that anymore. So it's going to be helpful. It's not going to be implemented this year. They're doing it, around the league here for these players to get used to it. And they're getting, the veteran major leaguers are getting their first taste of it. Of course, the AAA guys have been using it, and there's a lot of AAA guys in camp playing right now, so they're familiar with it. So we'll see how it goes. It sounds like they're really going to implement this, whether it's next year or the following year. It looks like it's moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's quick, and look, it's just like tennis. If the ball is in that zone, it's a strike. If not, it's a ball, and let's move on. So I like it. A couple of things. Marco Scudero's in camp, and so is Javi Lopez. What's it like being around Scoot? How about that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm excited to see him. I'm going to be over here for a few more days. So I saw Javi when he checked in. He wasn't in uniform. We got to chat. But I can't wait to see Marco. Cuz, he used to call himself, hey, Cuz. I haven't seen him yet. So everybody's off tomorrow, and then, so hopefully I'll see him in a couple days over there. I'm really looking forward to it. We haven't seen him on the field here in a long time. I just hope he's wearing the right jersey. There was that one time when we were in Colorado on a day game, we used to wear a different jersey top, the SF for the jersey top. And everybody goes out, they got the SF on, and he's got the nighttime jersey on out there at second base. So no one told him for about 4 innings. And then I think he finally realized it and put the right jersey on. But we love Marco. I'm happy to see him back in the organization here in camp, and he's going to be a lot of fun. The players are going to really enjoy him.
Well, first of all, he was a hitter. Look, he had big hits when he came over from Colorado. My God, he hit about 360. But what about the glove? And now he's a coach, sort of, for the week. Look, he works with the guys at second. You got Wisely there. You got Schmidt there. Fitzgerald's there. Maybe Kossel will be over there. What does Marco bring glove-wise?
Well, he's played all over the field, so that experience alone goes a long way. He started as a shortstop. He ended up playing a lot of second base. I'm sure he's played some third in his career. He was always sure-handed. A smart player. There's so many things that these big leaguers can relay to these fielders, just like Santiago Castillo with the pitcher, talking. I didn't view him as a guy that would be offering great things up because, the language course. I knew him personally, but not as a coach. And they always surprise you. And, you know, the thing about Marco, one thing that he's going to bring too, not just defensively, is one thing that the organization is focusing on, and that's contact, putting the ball in play, getting the guy in from third, moving the runner. You know, Scoot, that's what he did. He did. So he can help guys offensively there too on, you know, what his approach is with two strikes and when you got to get the guy in from third. But no, I think he'll be a good one. As I said, he's got a great personality, and he'll connect with the players immediately.
Well, he's had big hits for him, Marco Scutero. Well, I'll tell you, I watched the game the other day. This little Nicky Lopez, I don't know if you were at the game. He was the leadoff hitter, I think, for the Cubs maybe. And I'm watching him against Hicks. And Hicks is throwing 97, 98, 99. And he gets him into a 3-2 count. And Nicky Lopez, his little second baseman, chokes up on the bat and sort of like shrunk his strike zone a little bit. And Hicks just delivered like another 98, and this kid just ripped it into right field. And I said, boy, this is a leadoff hitter. That was hitting for me. Do you remember the play? Yeah,
absolutely. He's a good-looking player. Yeah. And he's one of the few guys that does make an adjustment with two strikes, you know, a physical adjustment, not just a mental adjustment. He makes a physical adjustment, like choking up. And he's a good-looking player. And I know we just had our morning meeting here at the minor league camp, and, you know, we're doing the same thing. You know, I was talking to Jacob Cruz, one of our, coordinators for the minor league hitting, and they have talked to every player about two-strike approach and making more contact, and they're trying to zone in on each guy physically and mentally on what adjustment they're going to make in these situations, which I think is great. You know, when I was with the Pirates as a player, they said one year, with two strikes, everybody move up on the plate and choke up on the bat. Well, I already could make contact, so I didn't like it. When I moved up on the plate, you know, I felt very uncomfortable. So I think we have the right approach going, that you work it out individually on what may be best for them and what they're going to do. But, you know, hopefully that'll make a difference because, as we said, 90 games were decided by 3 games or less last year with the Giants. So situational hitting and putting the ball in play when you need to is an important aspect of the game. So I'm looking forward to see how this all translates.
Big deal. One moment of baseball history I'll throw you to the professor here. 1874 is a long time ago. The batter's box is finally adopted. Can you imagine what they did before that? They must have run all over the place.
Well, Marty, I got bupkis. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what they're doing before that. I mean, how could you not have a batter's box? That's great. Only you would come up with that, Marty.
I like it. Yeah, they ran all over the. Who knows what they were doing? But they said, no, you got to be in the batter's box. All right, that's baseball. Hey, great to have you on, Professor, and have a good day today, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Marty. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great week.
All right, that is the Professor, Ron Wotus. Coming up, Kerry Crowley with more of our Giants